Have you ever met someone who looked completely ordinary but somehow, in just one brief moment, changed your entire life? It happened on a rainy Tuesday in downtown Los Angeles, the kind of afternoon when the sky looked tired and everyone was rushing somewhere, trying not to feel anything. On a crowded corner, a little clown stood under a flickering streetlight. Her name was Luna. She was juggling 3 old oranges that had already lost their shine. The paint on her nose was chipped. Her shoes were 2 sizes too big. And yet, when she laughed, even the gray sky seemed to pause for her. Most people passed her by, pretending she didn't exist. But that day, someone stopped. A tall man in a charcoal suit, holding a silver briefcase, his shoes spotless, his face cold. His name was Ethan Carter, a businessman who didn't believe in luck, laughter, or love. He believed in numbers, in contracts, in control. When Luna turned too quickly, she bumped into him. The briefcase fell open, papers scattered, and for a split second, the 2 worlds collided. Color met gray. "Watch where you're going," Ethan snapped, gathering his documents in frustration. "I'm sorry," Luna said softly, her voice trembling, her red balloon floating away behind her. She noticed the envelope of cash inside his case. She could have taken it. No one would have seen. But instead, she picked it up carefully, placed it back inside, and closed the latch. When she handed it to him, Ethan hesitated. He looked at her, really looked at her. And for the first time that day, something in his chest shifted. "You could have kept it," he said. She smiled through the rain. "You can't run fast in clown shoes." He chuckled, a sound even he didn't recognize anymore, and as she turned to leave, he called after her. "Wait!" Luna stopped, umbrella dripping, eyes curious. "I have a proposal for you," Ethan said, his voice low, hesitant. And that was the moment, the very moment, when a little clown unknowingly stepped into the biggest act of her life. The rain hadn't stopped. Drops danced off the briefcase between them. Ethan looked uneasy, as if the words he was about to say were heavier than money. "I need your help," he began. Luna tilted her head, curious. "With what? Fixing your smile?" He almost laughed, but his pride swallowed it. "No," he said. "Something more complicated. I need someone to pretend to be my wife." She blinked. "Excuse me?" "It's not what it sounds like," Ethan rushed to explain. "My father left a condition in his will. I only get my inheritance if I'm married before the end of this week." Luna crossed her arms. "And you thought what the clown on the street would do?" He hesitated. "You're honest. I saw that." "Honest or desperate?" she teased. He ignored the jab. "I'll pay you $10,000. She laughed, a small musical sound under the storm. $10,000 for pretending to love you? That's not acting. That's a miracle." He frowned. "Fine, 20. She shook her head. 50, or find another clown. Ethan sighed, checked his watch, then said through his teeth, "Deal, 50,000. Luna smiled. "I guess we both like impossible things." They shook hands under the rain, a contract written not on paper, but on timing and pride. As they walked toward his car, Luna tried to lighten the mood. "So, what kind of husband do you want me to be?" Ethan glanced sideways. "Convincing." "Good," she said, "because I'm great at pretending." He didn't reply. His jaw tightened. He told himself it was just business. A small lie for a large inheritance. But deep down, something about her voice, her fearlessness, unsettled him. When they reached his mansion, she stared in awe. Marble floors, gold accents, everything shining, except the people who lived there. "Wow," Luna whispered. "You live in a museum of silence." Ethan turned. "What's that supposed to mean?" She smiled faintly. "It means I've seen happier faces at a circus." He didn't know how to respond. He only said, "Take off that makeup. My father is traditional. He hates clowns." Luna looked at him. long and quiet. "Rich people always hate clowns," she said, "because clowns remind them of what they used to be, human." Ethan froze. For a split second, her painted smile seemed to see straight through his polished soul. The mansion smelled like rain and cold marble. Luna followed Ethan inside, her wet shoes leaving tiny puddles on the white floor. He pointed toward the stairs. "Second room on the left. You'll find everything you need there: dress, jewelry, papers." She nodded silently. But before going up, she looked around. Every corner of that house screamed perfection, yet somehow felt empty. No laughter, no warmth, just expensive silence. In the mirror upstairs, Luna wiped away the red paint from her nose. Bit by bit, the clown disappeared, revealing a woman she almost didn't recognize, a woman who'd spent too long pretending to be happy for strangers. When she came down the stairs, Ethan was waiting by the fireplace. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. Gone was the messy street performer. Standing before him was someone elegant, real, and completely out of place in his sterile world. He cleared his throat. "You clean up well." "And you talk like you're allergic to compliments," she replied with a smirk. Before he could respond, a lawyer entered the room, briefcase in hand. "Good evening, Mr. Carter. Are we ready to sign?" Ethan nodded quickly. "Yes. Let's make it official." The man opened the papers, but Luna didn't move. "What's wrong?" Ethan whispered. She looked at him, her tone calm but firm. "No woman should get married without a proposal, even a fake one." He sighed impatiently. "Luna, this is just..." She raised an eyebrow. "Say it, or I walk." He hesitated, then perhaps for the first time in his life, knelt down. His voice softened. "Luna, will you marry me?" She tilted her head. That sounded like a tax question. He looked at her, really looked, and something shifted. This time, his words came from somewhere deeper. "Luna, will you marry me? I promise to respect you, care for you, and keep this secret between us." A quiet smile curved her lips. "That's better." The lawyer watched in silence as they both signed, ink on paper. But something invisible had also signed that day, a feeling neither of them could quite name yet. When the lawyer left, Luna whispered, "You know, I've performed 1,000 fake smiles, but that one almost felt real." Ethan said nothing. He just stared at her, wondering why, for the first time in years, the house didn't feel quite so empty. The next morning, sunlight poured through the tall glass windows, painting gold over the mansion's cold gray walls. Luna stood by the dining table, clutching a cup of coffee she didn't drink. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of pretending. Ethan adjusted his tie nervously. "He'll be here any minute," he said. "My father doesn't like surprises." Moments later, the sound of a cane echoed through the hallway. Mr. Carter Sr. entered, tall, silver-haired, with eyes that could read through lies. He stopped when he saw Luna. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then the old man smiled. "So, this is the woman who finally tamed my son?" Luna's lips curved into a polite smile. "Yes, sir, though I think he's still a work in progress." Mr. Carter laughed, the kind of laugh that warms and warns at the same time. "I like you already," he said. "Most people fear my son. You tease him." Ethan forced a grin. "We balance each other out." They sat down for lunch. The air was thick with unspoken truths. Mr. Carter leaned forward. "Tell me, Luna, what made you fall in love with my son?" Luna glanced at Ethan. He looked tense, eyes begging her not to mess it up. She took a slow breath. "His attitude," she said softly. "He pretends not to care about anyone, but deep down, he's just afraid of being alone." The old man's expression softened. He turned to Ethan. "She sees you more clearly than you see yourself." Ethan said nothing. He just stared at his plate, feeling something shift inside him, something pride couldn't silence. After lunch, Mr. Carter took Luna aside, his tone gentle but piercing. "My son believes money will fix everything. I want you to prove him wrong." She blinked. "How could I do that?" "Stay," he said simply. "Stay long enough for him to remember what love sounds like." When he left, Ethan approached her quietly. "What did he say to you?" Luna looked at him, her eyes calm. "He said, 'The real inheritance isn't his, it's yours.'" Ethan frowned. "What does that even mean?" Luna smiled faintly. "You'll know when you finally stop pretending." The mansion felt unusually quiet that afternoon, the kind of silence that hums before a storm. Luna was arranging flowers in the hallway when she heard the knock. 3 slow taps, sharp, certain. When she opened the door, a young woman stood there, soaked in rain, mascara running down her cheeks. Her name was Sabrina Vale. "Is Ethan here?" she asked, her voice trembling with anger. Luna hesitated. "Who's asking?" "I'm the woman carrying his child." The vase slipped from Luna's hands, shattering against the marble. The sound echoed through the halls. Ethan appeared from the study, confused. "Sabrina, what are you doing here?" "You know exactly why I'm here," she snapped. "You disappeared after promising me everything, and now you're married." Mr. Carter's footsteps echoed down the stairs. "What's going on here?" No one answered. The truth hung between them like smoke. Sabrina opened her purse and pulled out a folder. Medical reports, messages, photos. "Here," she said coldly. "Proof." Ethan's face drained of color. He couldn't speak. Luna looked at him, eyes wide, heart breaking for reasons she couldn't explain. "So, everything about us is just another lie?" "It's not what you think," Ethan tried to say, but his words stumbled. "It never is," she whispered, tears forming. Mr. Carter looked furious and disappointed. "You fooled me, Ethan, and worse, you fooled her." The storm outside broke, thunder rumbling through the sky. Suddenly, a man appeared at the doorway. Noah Reed holding an envelope. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's something you all should know." Sabrina froze. "Noah, what are you doing here?" He met her eyes, telling the truth. He laid out the documents on the table, ultrasound forms signed by him. "The baby," Noah said quietly, "is mine." The room fell silent. Only the rain spoke now, hitting the glass like applause after a cruel play. Sabrina's face went pale. She whispered something no one caught, then ran out into the storm. Ethan's father exhaled heavily, leaning on his cane. "Money, pride, lies. They always come with interest, son. And today, you've paid in full." Luna looked at Ethan. Her eyes were soft, not angry, just tired. "You keep chasing everything you can buy," she said. "But the things that matter most, they don't have a price." Ethan lowered his head. For the first time in years, he didn't have an answer. The rain didn't stop for 2 days. It poured like the sky was trying to wash away every lie that had been told inside that house. Ethan hadn't left his office since the confrontation. The inheritance papers sat untouched on his desk, their edges curling under the weight of guilt. He kept replaying Luna's words in his head. "You keep chasing everything you can buy. But the things that matter most don't have a price." Each time he heard them, they cut deeper. When he finally stepped outside, the world smelled of wet earth and second chances. He drove back to the same corner where everything had begun. The streetlight, the puddles, the faint chalk marks of Luna's old performances. She was there, still juggling oranges, still smiling for strangers. But there was a quiet sadness in her laughter now. Ethan walked toward her slowly. She saw him coming, but didn't stop performing. "You're late," she said softly, tossing an orange high into the air. He caught it before it fell. "Story of my life," he replied. She crossed her arms. "You should be with your wife." He shook his head. "I'm exactly where I should be." Luna sighed. "So what now? Did you get your money?" He reached into his coat and handed her an envelope. She hesitated before opening it. Inside were signed documents, the inheritance transfer, complete, but at the bottom was a note. All proceeds donated to the Red Hearts Foundation for children who still believe in laughter. Luna looked up, stunned. "You gave it away?" He nodded. I finally understood. The real inheritance wasn't money. It was the person who reminded me what kindness feels like. Her eyes softened. "You really think you can change?" Ethan smiled faintly. "I already did, the day a clown taught me what love looks like." They stood there, rain falling softly around them. Two people who had spent their lives pretending, finally learning what was real. Weeks passed. The city returned to its rhythm. Fast cars, busy streets, people forgetting too easily. But one corner stayed the same, the one with the flickering streetlight, where color once met gray. Ethan came back there one evening, carrying a small box. He didn't wear a suit this time, just a simple sweater, the kind of clothes that didn't need to impress anyone. Luna was there, surrounded by children, painting smiles on their faces with cheap makeup and warm laughter. When she saw him, her brush froze mid-air. "Didn't expect to see you here again," she said softly. He smiled, holding up the box. "I found something that belongs to you." Inside lay a small silver ring, slightly bent, with a tiny red gem shaped like a heart. Her clown ring. She gasped. "Where did you find it?" He smiled. "In the same place where you found me." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The world around them blurred. Just two people standing still, one with a broken ring, the other with a mended soul. Luna took the ring, her fingers trembling. "Why bring it back?" "Because you never owed me anything," Ethan said. "But I owed you this, a thank you, and maybe a beginning." She looked up, eyes bright with tears she didn't want to show. "And what about the 50,000? He chuckled softly. "Keep it. Consider it a donation to happiness." She smiled through a tear. "Then here's your change," she said, handing him a red balloon. He laughed, the sound light and unguarded, the kind of laugh that could only come from someone who finally forgave himself. As the sun set behind them, the balloon floated up, higher and higher, until it was nothing but a dot of color in the evening sky. Luna whispered, "Maybe some stories don't end, they just rise." Moral checklist 1. Never judge a person by the paint they wear. Some clowns hide the purest hearts. 2. You can lose everything and still have something to give. 3. Money fades. Kindness echoes. 4. The people we least expect often become our greatest teachers. 5. And sometimes it takes a clown to remind us what being human means. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who might need a reason to believe again. Because sometimes one story can change everything.